into the 71 and 72 seasons. And a win this coming Saturday would be our longest since the end of the 58, beginning of the 1959 seasons. Also, it's the best start for Lamar, or a win Saturday would be the best start for Lamar since the 1957 season when Lamar went 8-0-2 in that year. They only played 10 games in that season. It would also be the first time in program history as a four-year institution that Lamar has opened the year 5-0 in conference play. We did not track conference records back when we were a junior college institution, so I don't quite know how things were set up at that time back prior to the 1951 season. And then Lamar's victory Saturday against Northwestern State assured us of no worse than a winning record. The third straight since Coach Rossamado's been here. It's also the first time the Cardinals have had three straight winning seasons since 1965 through 1967. And a win Saturday would give LU 8 wins on the year, which would tie a single season school record as a four-year institution. And obviously the overall record is 10 when we were a junior college institution. And if you're ready to go, hold it right away. We'll open it up from a comment from Coach, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah, coming off a win, Northwestern State, we actually had to move the game up 2 hours to avoid the lightning, which we did, and successfully were able to get it in without any weather issues, so that was great. And thought the defense played excellent for the most part. You know, we had a couple big explosive pass plays where we didn't communicate well, but I think overall, you know, holding the 23 yards and rushing the football, and really they had a first and goal and a 4, and we managed to block a field goal in that drive. So I think our defense played really well. I think our offense, you know, Robert's first start back, and you know, we moved the ball early, just got in some penalty problems and had to settle for a couple field goal tries. We made one of them, and then eventually we got kind of going on the ground, and Xavier Coleman and Josh Robinson and LaDamian, those guys kind of got it rolling for us, and the big guys up front. And, you know, we were able to put it away midway through the third, and, you know, we got some other guys some opportunities to play that haven't played. Lucas Powell, quarterback, and Omarion Raspberry at running back, and, you know, just some guys that, you know, Major coming off an injury, you know, was ready to go, but, you know, we felt like we needed to hold them if we could, and we did, and thank goodness we got through it without playing them. And, you know, we got a lot of guys reps, so it was good to see those guys playing.
256 yards rushing, the best rushing performance of the year. Is that something you looked at going in there, knowing you could run the ball against those guys?
I didn't know we could. I just knew that we had to. You know, we had to improve on where we've been, and we put a huge emphasis on it the week of practice, and practice really hard and tough and physical this past week, and we're going to do the same, you know, for the next 4 weeks, because that's apparently what it's going to take to run the football between the tackles, and we were able to do that. Our tight ends played good, and when anytime our running backs hit the mark as far as aiming points go, we had success in the run game. So we needed to do that.
Coleman over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, which was, you know, his best performance. But we're seeing more and more out of Josh Robinson.
Yeah,
he's worked his way to the depth chart. Talk about him.
Yeah, he's just, you know, he's a physical back. We knew he was. He was always playing a lot of special teams for us, and you know, we had all those other guys, and you know, he was kind of the third or fourth guy, goal line guy, and you know, he's really come on the last couple of weeks. So been really impressed with what he's done from a practice preparation standpoint.
Robert's performance overall?
Overall, I thought he was rusty, especially early. But I think he got back in a groove. He did some good things for us. You know, the mechanics of the offense is never a problem with Robert. Does a really good job of leading the huddle and, you know, getting us in the right stuff. And, you know, I just think from a throwing standpoint, he's just a little bit rusty. And I think he had to get some of those throws out. And, you know, we took 4 sacks, and, you know, 2 of them were probably on him. He'll tell you that. But I think, you know, overall, he put together a good game. He gave us the opportunity to win a game.
Penalties, 11 for 100. That's something you're going to address?
I mean, there were aggressive penalties. You know, I don't think any of them, you know, we had one delay a game, which is a coaching error. That's not a player's error, so 10 penalties. 5 of them were holds. You can call a hold on every play. That's the way I feel. And, our guys were aggressive. They could clean up some of the details of the blocks. I know that. And they will. But I can't. I'm not going to worry about aggressive penalties as long as they're smart and they're well intended. And one was on Paul Amodia, face mask, where he just went for the ball and the kid caught it and ducked under him and caught the face mask. Nothing you can really do about that on his end. And Isaiah, they called the face mask on him, which was a total complete joke because the guy was begging. No one threw a flag, and the guy was turned and begged the official, and then all of a sudden a flag comes out. It was probably 8 seconds after the play, so that was disappointing, obviously, on the officials' end. One official told me it was 3rd down on a 4th down on the first field goal, so we took the field goal team off the field. Then they told me it was 4th down. I had to send them out there. I had to burn a timeout, so there were some issues along that road too, but I don't ever worry about aggressive penalties. I worry about the discipline penalties, and we didn't have any of those. Our guys did a pretty good job with that. But we address all those things, and you got to get better at them.
UIW coming up on Saturday. This is a team that's preseason top 10, I think top 5 preseason, and their season hasn't won as they would expect it to, but still, that's a tough opponent in front of you on the road.
They're a good football team. I watched a bunch of film last night, and they're good. They're really talented, and for some reason things aren't clicking right now. But if it starts clicking Saturday, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So they're a really talented team. Their quarterback's exceptional. Obviously, they got Walthall, who's one of the best receivers in FCS football. So we got our work cut out for us on Saturday for sure. We got to have a great week of preparation, and we got to be ready to go once the light shines on Saturday afternoon.
You talk about winning at a decent pace, and you got some of your guys that got some reps last Saturday. How important is that for some of those kids to get live reps in real games, especially in a conference game?
Really important. It's great for morale. It's great for development. It's really good to see what kind of depth you truly have, because you think you're in good shape until the guy's got to go in there who's never played a game. I think that's, those things are tough, so we want to get them game reps as best we can and see if they can't work out some of those kinks on the game field.
How's McCown doing this week?
Good. He went out Saturday and tried to throw pregame, and he got through warm-ups okay, but he said, Coach, I can't, I just can't pull with my left side. He's got a left shoulder injury, and it's just nagging him right now. And I just felt like if we put him in the game and he got hit, we may have a setback. Which I don't really want to do that. And Robert was 100% healthy. He was available, so it really didn't make any sense to try to do that with where he was. And he was out throwing this morning, looked good. Said he felt way better with a couple more days of treatment and rest. And so we'll see how it goes tomorrow when he practices.
With Coleman, though, I wanted to kind of ask about this too, because I feel like last week he probably could have played week before Ponca, but obviously McCown was the answer there. With his ability to come off the bench, starting the year as a starter, having the injury, and then being healthy enough to go in, but then showing up the way he did last week, what kind of leadership does that show you with Coleman?
Yeah, Rob's two-time captain. They don't just do that because you're a starting quarterback. They do it because you're a leader, and I think that's shown every day with Rob supporting Aiden the whole time, and really, there was never a question. Like, Rob never came in my office and said, "I'm ready. I'm going to be the starter this week." He said, "Whatever you need for the team, and I don't care about my feelings. If that's what's necessary for the team, then I'll do it." And it can only be through divine intervention that Aiden gets hurt and Rob's waiting to go in the game. I don't know how else you can say it. He wouldn't have been ready if they didn't clear him on Wednesday that week. So, it just worked out great for us that we had a guy with all that game experience ready to go in. Not that Lucas couldn't have done a good job, but, Lucas has never played in that kind of game before. So, with the game on the line, Rob has. So that was just a true blessing for us. And, we're in a good spot because we got two guys that care for each other and love each other and want to support each other. And, I don't have to worry about making a decision. The decision's made by who plays the best.
When you first got here, if I remember the phrase correctly, you would tell the kids, the team, pressure is a privilege. You create those situations. I'm assuming that this year is kind of the culmination of what you were talking about with everything that's going on. How do you feel that the team is handling that pressure, so to speak? Because they're in a situation that people around here haven't seen since, in some cases, the 50s and in the 60s.
Yeah, we just worry about one game at a time and one day at a time and trying to make Tuesday the best day we can have tomorrow. And you start talking about the grand scheme, and players don't understand that. They just if you do that, you force them to look ahead. They can't watch their next step, and I think we got to watch our next step, and we continue to harp on that with them. And I think they've handled it really well. And still nobody gives Lamar any credit. I still believe that, and I watch it on polls, and I watch, they're not that good. They only beat Northwestern State by X, or they only beat UTRGV. Well, I think UTRGV just put 56 on UIW last week, right? So that's a pretty good team that our defense essentially shut out, because we gave them the ball on the 5-yard line, and we gave them the ball on the 30-yard line in that game. Otherwise, they probably hold them to one drive in the game. So, no one's giving Lamar any credit, and that's okay. We'll take it, but the pressure's, it's self-imposed. We've had pressure on us since I showed up here, because the thought process was we're going to win here, and we're going to win big because we're supposed to. We're in Texas. We're a football team. Football is the most important thing in the state of Texas, so you got to win. And we put pressure on them ever since. So they're ready for it.
Do the guys feel the pressure?
I don't think so. I hope not. Everybody should feel the pressure to perform every week. Because, nobody's job is safe. And I think we got enough good players now on our team that's the truth. It's not just coach speak.
Is there a world where you almost feel like this is what you want? You want Lamar to be disrespected. You want him to fly under the radar. You kind of light a fire under your team in a way.
Yeah, I hope we don't. That's not necessary. We're in the fourth quarter of our season right now, and we got an opportunity ahead of us to play UIW, who the last two years has beat us. And you always say, like, what is the valuation point? How do you value your program? Who's the measuring stick? Well, the last 3 years, who's it been? UIW. So we got to go to their place and play, and they're a measuring stick. So let's go see if we can compete with them and see if we can win. We're still making these, monumental measuring stick moments. So we got to do that. We did it with South Dakota. We knew where we were 2 years ago against them. We knew what we had to do to win that game, and our guys stepped up and did it. Now we got to do the same thing this week against UIW.
It is what it is, but like last week in Natchez, same thing coming up this week. You're going there for the second straight year.
Yeah, weird schedule for sure, but got to play the teams on your schedule the way they give it to you. Can't change that right now. Just, I know one thing, we got to make that trip on Friday, and we'll be ready to go. I know our guys will be excited to play the game, and as they were a year ago. And I don't know if a year ago we're down 6 points at halftime in that game, and that's a team that went to the semis, I think. So I think our team was close, but close is not good enough. Only good in horseshoes and hand grenades. So we got to be better.
Just real quick, you've already touched on the quarterback situation a little bit, but there has to be a little bit of a silver lining in the fact when Robert did get hurt, it forced you to have to go to somebody else. That young man has now proven himself. So for the rest of the season, assuming both guys are healthy, you now know you've got two starting quarterbacks. That's kind of a benefit that most teams don't really have.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of times in my career where we've played two quarterbacks just because you didn't have a great feel for either one. And I don't think that would ever be the case right now. I think if we play two quarterbacks because two guys deserve to play, it's not because you're just trying to figure it out. So I love the way those guys take care of each other, and I love the way our team rallies around both of them. I think that's always huge, and it's a great opportunity. It's an opportunity, quite honestly, I've never really had in my coaching career where I've had two elite quarterbacks in one room. Really, all five of them have been unbelievable and been great all year long.
Although we didn't get the situation because they called timeout, you had the big guy back there for the shotgun formation. Talk about that play.
Yeah, it's just something we've been working on. So we knew we got inside the 3, we were going to call it. So yeah, it was set up.
I was hoping that they would do
Yeah, we were going to roll it back out, and then I said, yeah, you know what, we'll save it for another day.
it.
No, maybe UIW will see it.
Worst case scenario though now, just because that's out there on film that he was out there, they've now got to spend 30 minutes this week preparing for a play that they may or may not see, which has got to
I'm sure they won't spend a whole bunch of time on Big Reg back there, but yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was something that we wanted to do for them, and we tried. I don't know what else to say. We tried. Yeah, they ran down the sideline, called timeout.
I don't know if anybody else has any more questions, but I do have one. Like with all the historical stuff, like obviously for people like in our position, it's fun as the season goes on. When do people in your position get to enjoy it, or do coaches ever really think about that? Is there ever a time when you get to enjoy that and say, hey, we did something that's not been done since?
We're in the windshield business, not the rear view mirror business. So we can't look in that small rear view mirror. We got to look in the windshield right now and worry about what we got ahead of us. And we'll look in the rear view mirror every now and again, but right now we got to focus on what's ahead of us. And because there's some potholes and there's some people looking to knock us off the road, so we got to make sure we take care of our own business.
So basically in June is what you mean?
Yeah, I think during recruiting maybe, in December and January, but right now we just try to focus on taking it one day at a time and one game at a time, and we got a lot of work to do still. We look at the film and talk to our coaches, and we still got things we got to work on and get better at, and we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, so we still got a lot to work on. And this game is always going to be about preparation and mindset, and we have to get our guys prepared for this game because it's a big one. And then what's the mindset going into the game? I know by Wednesday we got to have them right. We got to have their mindset in the right spot.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.